This video will present the concept of creating and using document wizards in Microsoft Word. The second video in the series will show you some actual document wizards in action. If you'd like more information, please contact us at www.rokgroup.com. Our full contact information will be presented at the end of both videos. So let's talk about document wizards. What are they? Well, document wizards are a way to automate the creation and editing of documents without really knowing much about Word. Well, great, Bob. That really helps me a lot. That gives me a whole lot of information. Is there anything more you can tell me? Well, are document wizards exciting? You know, if you consider a roller coaster exciting, then you're going to be a little disappointed with document wizards. Are they fun? Well, again, if you think of fun as a barrel full of monkeys, document wizards will probably let you down a little bit. But in order to describe document wizards, first, let's go into Word, create a letter the way most of the world creates a letter, and work our way up to the document wizards. Believe it or not, this is how most people start a letter in Word, with a blank screen. They usually take the default margins in the fonts, not because they don't want anything different, but because they either don't know how to change them or they're afraid to mess up the entire document if they try to change them. In our example, I'm going to write a standard follow-up letter after a phone call with a customer. It'll take me a few minutes, so we'll just fast forward the video. I finished up the letter. I referenced the customer phone call and the issue, as well as my resolution. I also tried to personalize it by calling the customer by name and referencing things we talked about on the phone. After all, in the name of good customer service, I don't want the customer to think I'm just whipping out a quickie form letter and checking some boxes. Just so you know, it took me about 10 minutes to create this letter from scratch. I'm also assuming that my company letterhead is in the printer. If it weren't, I'd have to add the logo and the contact information at the top of the letter as well, which would take me a lot longer. The obvious issue is with efficiency and using my time well, but there are some other issues with this method of creating a letter. First is the formatting. There are several acceptable ways to format a business letter: placement of components, spacing, standard greetings, etc. If everyone in your organization writes their own letters, they'll format the letter the way they know how, and not necessarily how you want them to. The best case is that they all do things differently, but at least each format is acceptable. The worst case, which I've seen way too often, is that they all do things differently and the letters are not business ready. Second is grammar. Let's hope that I can spell correctly, compose a coherent sentence, and utilize the appropriate business tone in my correspondence. But you know, some people just can't. They haven't received that type of training. And if correspondence goes out of your organization that isn't professional, your organization's reputation suffers. Now that wasn't very efficient. I had to create and format the document, and then I had to worry about adding my content. But believe it or not, that's the way most folks use Word. And that's okay. It gets the job done. Not everybody can be an expert at Word, but there are better ways and easier ways. So let's step it up a notch and take a look at how a more sophisticated or experienced Word user creates a letter. Here's how a more advanced Word user would write that same letter. They would find the last letter that they worked on that's similar and begin editing it to match the needs of the current situation. In this case, I've received an email from a customer with a complaint and I need to reply to that. I've pulled up the letter from earlier in our video and I'm going to customize it now to meet the needs of the new situation. Again, this will take a few minutes, so I will fast forward the video. I finished editing this letter to reflect the current situation, and it took me 3 or 4 minutes to do that. For people who use this method of opening an existing document and then editing it to reflect a different situation, They save themselves a little bit of time because they don't have to create the layout of the letter again. They just have to replace information. But they have to find all that information and replace it. Also, they probably need to be sure not to screw up any of the formatting that was already there. You know, some people like Times New Roman font no matter what the rest of the world uses, and by golly, that's what they're going to use, even if they insert it into a letter that has a different font. In cases like that, it's very easy for the recipient to see when someone made a change. So your letter layout is probably going to be okay and you'll save some time. But there still could be some significant issues with the document itself. And remember, we're just doing a simple customer service letter here. Document wizards are at their most powerful when the documents get more complex, like proposals. We'll see some of those in the upcoming videos. Well, that was much better. I cut out the formatting and creation of the document by using one that already existed. That saved me a lot of time. But I still had to go in and manually make adjustments for the current situation, replacing the information from the previous document. How many times have you forgotten to change the date on a letter, or the subject line, or in the worst case, you replace the person's name at the beginning of the letter, but not all the way through the rest of the letter? It happens more often than you'd think. And since your letter represents you and your organization, when you make one tiny mistake, it can really have a negative impact on the reader's perception of you. The next step is to use a document wizard. So let's take a look at a simple one. Now I'm going to create the same type of customer service letter using a document wizard that everyone in the company has access to. So I'm going to go create a new document, only instead of a blank document, I'm going to use a recently used template, which is the customer service letter wizard. Alright, instead of a blank document or a document that requires me to spend a lot of time hunting and editing the content, the document wizard is presenting me with a dialog box asking me for the information. Now this is a very simple wizard. Wizards can have as many screens as you'd like and collect as much information as necessary. I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to fill in the information and we'll fast forward the video a little bit. Okay, it took me a couple of seconds to enter the basic information, but I've paused here while I'm entering the data because I wanted to show you a couple of features that I built into the wizard. One, I have a list of the CSRs, the customer service representatives, who are available to put out these kind of letters. Maybe this would be a list of the supervisors, and I'll select myself. And then the other thing that I have here is the type of contact. Did I have a phone call with this customer? Did I have an email communication with this customer? I had a phone call, and so when I select phone, the wizard actually changes and asks me to fill in some information based on a phone call. It would be different if I had put in an email. So I'm going to continue entering information here, and we'll be back in just a second. Okay, I've finished entering the information based on this phone call, and now I'm going to select the Create button. Alright, I clicked the Create button and the wizard substituted all the information for me. I don't have to worry that I forgot to change the date or I missed replacing the customer's last name someplace in the document. As a matter of fact, I really don't have to know that much about Word, certainly not the ins and outs of formatting the document. I saved a ton of time. The letter was formatted the way the company wants it formatted, not the way I want it formatted, and the wizard stepped me through everything. It even included my signature based on the selection that I was the customer service representative. That was a lot better. As you can see, I didn't have to create the document, format the document, or worry about problems replacing the content of the document. As a matter of fact, I didn't even have to edit it. I just let the wizard do the work, and then I printed it and I saved it. Document wizards have a lot of benefits to you. They save you time because you don't have to create and format the documents from scratch. They eliminate errors because you're not adding and changing content on the fly. They introduce consistency because everybody in your organization can easily access the same wizard. They make maintenance easier because you change the wizard in one place. You don't have to send emails around the whole company saying, here's the new version of the letter, put it in your folders. And last, the capability is already built into Word for you to create your own wizards. No special development tools are required. This wizard was a very simple one, but I hope it helps you see the potential of using document wizards in your organization. In the next video, I'll show you 2 more complex wizards that will really get you thinking of ways wizards can make your life easier. If you have questions or comments, or you want help building wizards for your organization, please contact us. Thanks very much.